And see, that's the boldness of these criminals. They just do it with such flair, such openness, I mean, they go on TV and just laugh at us. The head of Goldman Sachs was interviewed by the New York Times and just laughed and said, we're keeping it all and we're buying up good banks. We're buying up banks that aren't in trouble, and started laughing at them. It's funny. Like Karl Rove said, we control reality, and then we'll change that reality again, and then you'll go along with that. And what do you think they're doing with Barack Obama? They totally control him. And they're laughing. They go, we'll change reality again, and then you'll report on that reality. In this case, the Fed and the gaggle of bastard banker children eating at the trough gobbled up the $5 trillion plus in taxpayer money, and then figuratively stuck their middle finger up when the questions were asked about where the money was going. Meanwhile, the bailout has had no effect whatsoever, increasing the severity of the financial downturn and allowing the same elite to exploit the crisis as a pretext for centralizing control of the world economic system and creating a new world order and a single global currency. Everything they've announced, everything we have said they would do, they're now doing. Open discussion of martial law, open army brigades on the streets of America, open federal random checkpoints, open FEMA camps being built. World banks openly about to set up a world tax, with Barack Obama leading it worldwide to regulate and tax plastic bags, light bulbs, fuel, natural gas, oil, all its derivatives, all the things that come out of it, every type of factory, every type of industry. But only in the target nations that are targeted to be brought down financially. Only in Germany, France, Belgium, the Netherlands, England, Ireland. Only in the first world nations. Only in Japan. Not in China, not in India, not in Mexico, not in Brazil, not in Paraguay, not in the Caribbean, not in Asia, not in South Korea, which is first world. More advanced than we are in a lot of respects. They are racing to take everything over. Everything. And so all the remaining industry will flee the United States under the carbon taxes. You thought you didn't have jobs, and all these blue-collar people who were so simply fooled, and all these white-collar yuppies who were so easily fooled, they hate George Bush, they feel trendy, they're against torture, they're against phony wars, they're against executive hubris. And so, because George Bush on the surface, he signed back on to UNESCO 4 years ago, because George Bush on the surface said he was against the global carbon tax, the whole world and the middle classes of the world piled on and said, well, if that idiot is against it, it must be real, and I'm going to rebel against George Bush. I'm going to show him. I'm going to get him. And you're going to really get him by paying your tax into the county and the city that will collect it, and about 10%, they're arguing about the models, will be shared locally. Then the 90% will be sent on to the state. They'll keep another 10%. Then it'll be sent on to the feds. They'll keep 30, 40%. And then about half of it will be given to the private central bankers who you will buy the carbon credits and cap and trade. World Bank, the Club of Rome, the CFR, admit it's all fake. They laugh at you in public publications. Open. And we post them, we write about them, we make films about it. Meanwhile, they are butchering the real environment, just doing things that are probably irrevocable. Just God help us with the genetic engineering and the rest of it, and the toxic waste and all of it. I mean, there's a lot of serious issues, and there is a lot of toxic waste associated with petrochemicals. Don't get me wrong. And they have suppressed real technologies. But see, they trick you. They say, oh, yeah, we're going to have new technologies. Oh, yeah, we're going to move forward. This is going to start a lot of new business and industry. Meanwhile, they're suppressing all of that. All they're going to do is slap a tax on everything, folks. Because to start these clean-burning industries, to start these these less toxic industries, it will take carbon to get those going. And they have carbon involved, and then they can always set the tax on whatever they want on anything that has carbon in it, including what you exhale and what you eat and everything. And they're talking about taxes on all meat, already starting in England. They're already telling restaurants, hey, you have to serve what we say on your menus. They're already CPSing the fat children. They don't care about your health. They know Americans are basically eating the same amount of food we ate 30, 40 years ago. In fact, a lot of it was more unhealthy then. They know full well the sodium fluoride lowers your thyroid output. They know full well that high levels of estrogen-mimicking chemicals cause people to be obese and get diabetes. They know all that. They're not stupid. That's why they had hundreds of different types of plastics, and they made sure the only one that got approved was the type that let off this deadly estrogen-mimicking chemical. They're cold-blooded, ladies and gentlemen, and the sooner you come to grips that we have a scientific dictatorship. I mean, they got their stuff together. They designed the microchips. They designed the networks. They decide what color the road signs are. They engineer the society. And just because you're not on the ball or you're not focused or you're not informed doesn't mean there aren't people who aren't. They are. They run the world. And until we can recognize they run the world, and they're taking us in a bad direction, it's only going to get worse. So I want to say it again. We're going to come back and take calls. We have a global elite that has set up police state systems so that their corporate governments can turn our original governments, the people's governments, into ceremonial institutions. They are setting up carbon taxes to feudalize the middle class and bring us to our knees like other third world slaves. And they are stealing our entire future birthright and putting us into debt by design in the name of saving us while publicly laughing.